Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Toboid Talks. If I'm calling it that, I don't think I'm actually going to call it anything. I think it's just ranking p-2, but I happen to talk today for some reason. Today, the topic is peanut butter sandwiches. So, a sandwich, for those who don't know, is 2 pieces of bread with a filling in between, or multiple fillings, it depends on the sandwich. In this case, we're just talking about one filling, which is peanut butter. And peanut butter is a paste made by crushing peanuts, which are like a legume, it's grown in the ground in little pods, and each pod has 2 peanuts. And so those interior peanuts inside the little pod is what is crushed and turned into peanut butter. Potentially with other things added, I'm not really sure. Maybe like some salt or sugar, depending on the brand that you get. And sent to this paste, which in our case is put on the pieces of bread and formed into a sandwich. And bread, oh, I just clicked out of the game. Bread is a baked good. It's made by baking dough. And the dough is typically made of mostly flour, maybe with some water or salt, definitely yeast to help the bread rise. And then that bread is baked into a loaf and then cut up into slices, which then 2 of those slices are used to make the sandwich with the peanut butter. And some people might add other things to said peanut butter sandwiches. Like I'm quite fond of peanut butter and jam sandwiches, or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as they're known elsewhere in the world. And it might be a good idea to add butter to the same side of the bread that you're putting the peanut butter on. Just so that it's not as dry, because peanut butter can gum up your mouth a bit. It's a bit sticky, I suppose you could say. Maybe not, like just a bit dry and a bit pasty. You can also put... Ooh, there are a lot of weird things you can put in a peanut butter sandwich. Like I've had a peanut butter and garlic aioli sandwich before, which was not terrible. Garlic aioli is, I think it's a mayonnaise-based sauce, and mayonnaise is made of eggs. I don't know the details of mayonnaise or aioli, but it's a sort of sweet, sort of sour sauce. It's pretty nice. Not really with the peanut butter. I don't know. It was fine. It was enjoyable. But I wouldn't have it again. You can also potentially toast the bread and make a toasted peanut butter sandwich. I wouldn't I would recommend having the peanut butter on while you toast it. That gets the peanut butter all nice and melty, which some people like. Like me personally, I do enjoy my peanut butter a bit melty. When I have peanut butter toast, for example, and typically peanut butter toast is the same as a sandwich with just one piece of toast and the peanut butter on one side. You can also, with the peanut butter sandwiches, cut them in half. I didn't mention that, but when you have a peanut butter sandwich, sometimes you might just have it as a whole piece of bread times 2 with peanut butter in the middle. But you can also cut them in half so that there's an easier sort of side to bite from. Like you can cut it into a triangle or a square. You can cut it into multiple triangles, like 4 triangles per piece, or 4 squares. And then you can maybe even have multiple sandwiches at once and like stack them up, cut them in different shapes, make a little platter of peanut butter sandwiches. What's another thing? I've had Vegemite and peanut butter sandwiches before. I've had that once. It was a very unique flavor, and I'm not sure if I would have it again, but it was kind of fun. Not too much Vegemite, quite a lot of peanut butter. It was fun. I've had a lot of peanut butter sandwiches in my time. A lot of peanut butter sandwiches. A lot of peanut butter and jam sandwiches. I'm trying to think of any other spreads that can go with a peanut butter sandwich before I finish up this dead coin.
A visitor.
You might be able to have peanut butter and honey, that's a good one. Especially on toast. Peanut butter and honey toasted sandwich is pretty nice. Peanut butter and marmalade as well, like an orange marmalade perhaps, or a lemon marmalade even. That also goes pretty nice. To complement the sort of saltiness of the peanut butter, quite often peanut butters are salty. So the sweetness of the marmalade or the honey or the jam makes it quite a nice flavor sensation in your mouth. And on top of the brands of peanut butter, I've had a couple brands, but I've mostly only ever had, I think Beggar is the brand of peanut butter I usually get. I'm not sure how common that is overseas, but it's a nice Australian brand. Pretty sure it's Beggar. Maybe that's the cheese. Maybe it's both. Also, another peanut butter fun fact. That's an interesting conversation topic, I guess. You can have smooth peanut butter that has all the peanuts crushed into a fine paste, but you can also have crunchy peanut butter, which has bits of peanuts still swimming around in the paste. And I prefer crunchy most of the time, although I have been having smooth recently. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm glad I could talk about peanut butter sandwiches for an entire 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Goodbye!